answer. And so I'm going to kind of just dive right into it. The first question is, what makes Blaze different than other agencies or other marketing agencies, I should say? And so this is kind of a fun question to answer, because this kind of really drives deep, for me at least, into core values and all that kind of stuff. And so, but your typical agency, their motto, I've worked for a few agencies. I've had experience working with, as far as like when I'm working in an agency, I've worked with other agencies. And really the name of the game is to maximize profit for the least amount of effort, right? And I think that's true for a lot of businesses out there. But it didn't sit well with me on a lot of fronts. Because of the way that I kind of grew up and things. I'm kind of more of the type of person that just likes to take care of people. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely those people that I've worked with in other agencies as well. But the drive for me, my whole personal mission is to help others succeed, right? To help others or inspire others to be better and to progress and to succeed and to achieve fulfillment. And so that's really the basis of what Blaze is. So we, when our clients win, we win. When our clients are angry, we're angry. We're all about taking care of people and making sure that people are happy, and helping them succeed. Like, that is first and foremost, is how can we best serve our clients? That's kind of the biggest differentiator. Our mission here at Blaze is to help at least 10 businesses generate $10 million annually within the next 10 years. I've been told that that's kind of a low ball, but we're going to kind of go with that for now. That may change in the future. We might up that number. But when we look at that mission, we take that mission very seriously in the fact that, we really want to accomplish that. And so to accomplish that, we have to figure out the best way that we can serve our clients to make that happen. And so, in my mind, we've all been called to serve a certain amount of people or a certain group of people. And, for me, that's, I've found the outdoor world being that. And so that's kind of where we reside at this point, and helping those businesses succeed. And so as long as it's a legitimate product and those businesses align with our core values in serving others and providing the best customer experience possible, then, we're there. So that's really the biggest difference between Blaze and other agencies. And so with that said, if you have any questions, definitely put them in to the chat. And we are both on YouTube and Facebook. And so, if I start spouting off things that you're not seeing in the chat or the platform you're on, it's because it's on the other platform. So we'll go with it. In talking a little bit more about, what Blaze does as well. So we were formerly known as a digital ads agency. We strictly was just focusing on digital ads, and then slowly, because of our knowledge and because of, our nature and wanting to just take care of people, we kind of slipped into, doing some email marketing, because that's what we found people needed. It's like, to support our digital ads efforts, there needs to be some email marketing to kind of go with that. And then we dove into more of the SEO and all that kind of stuff, in which I have a very deep knowledge of and a lot of experience in all those fronts. And so, but with that, we kind of came into a crossroads, with the awesome question, Laura. So I will answer that. That's a great question. But we kind of came to a crossroads of like, okay, in order for us to really accomplish, our mission, in order for us to best serve our clients, how do we do that? And that's kind of where we've kind of fallen into the spot where, you know, or the motto or the slogan or whatever of like, you know what, we need to be able to influence every stage of the customer journey from awareness. So not just digital ads or SEO, but how we best convert, how we ascend, how do we retain and pretty much create raving fans for our businesses that we serve. And so with that, you know, that's why we claim that, you know, we're not your agency, you know, we're your bolt-on marketing team, and we take that very seriously. So for those with young businesses, when is the right time to hire an agency? This is, it's kind of you know, different people can answer this differently, but in my opinion, if you have a business and you hit at least $500,000 in revenue, or in between $500,000 and $1 million of annual revenue, that is a great time to implement an agency. So if you implement it when you are just starting and you don't have the funds for it, you're going to be so stressed out because the costs, you know, for a good agency that's actually going to move the needle, it's going to cost you money, right? And so instead of beating people up on price and trying to get the lowest dollar, you know, you want to pay those people what they're worth so that they do the job that they're there to do, instead of feeling like they're being gypped and then they start cutting corners and things like that. I've been there. And so having enough revenue in the business to support that agency, because when the agency starts rolling, you may not see the initial return for 90, 180 days, you know, depending on what you're doing. Like a year later, that's when you're going to start really seeing the fruits of the labor. And so to be able to sustain that over time and have consistency, instead of being like, yeah, I'm going to give these guys 30 days and that's it. If I don't get a 300% return on what I'm doing with them, then I'm out. You know, we can't have that. Like, you can't have that stress, and the agency doesn't need that stress either to perform, because there's so much that's involved in testing and creating offers and testing and testing and testing until you land on something that really pushes the needle. And so $500,000 to $1 million, somewhere in the range, depending on the profitability and all that kind of stuff, is really going to depend on that. Now, some businesses, they have financial backing, or they have founders that were successful in other ventures, and so they have the capital to really invest early on, and that is a completely different story. So, but for most young businesses that are trying to bootstrap and they're trying to figure things out, like, you really should wait, unless, you know, you do have the money to invest for the long term and you can wait it out, so to speak. So, great question. Awesome question. So, yeah, keep them coming. How would we help you identify the best customers to target? So, this is awesome. We actually have an exercise that we go through as we bring people on. It's called, it's building out your customer, your ideal customer, right? Building out your customer avatar. And so we go through and, it's a simple question of like, whatever product or service that you're offering, who, what does this person look like? As far as like if you had the most ideal person in mind that would want to buy your product or service, we want to model basically the avatar around that. And so we look at fears and frustrations, wants and aspirations, purchase drivers. We get into the demographics, right? We kind of create really like what this person looks like, what do they feel, how are they before, the before and after state, so to speak, so we can deliver that transformation. We're big on trying to deliver that transformation of, their before state of how they feel, what do they have, what their status is, what their average day looks like before they have the product versus what it looks like after. That's something that we really dive in greatly, and and it can be either a half day or even a full day, depending on that process. And maybe you have multiple customer avatars. and we help you build out a customer journey per avatar. And so some companies that we work with, right, have the online side, and then they have the wholesale side where they have dealers, where they're wholesaling their products to like retail stores and things like that. Well, somebody who's going to go and buy that online is a completely different person than somebody that's going to buy it wholesale too. And so we want to outline the differences between those two individuals, so that we can deliver the right messaging and we can react and interact with the different emotions and fears and like all that kind of stuff to help deliver a true solution to their problems. Because at the end of the day, marketing is all about providing, transforming and guiding people away from their problems and into, their happy state, so to speak. It's awesome. All right. If I'm a young business or just beginning to invest in marketing, what would you suggest that I do with $5,000? Um, that is kind of a loaded question for sure. Um, yeah, it would just depend on what you have in place. Along the lines of what and how we kind of approach it, is we kind of build out the customer avatar and we put down metrics of what is working and what's not working. Um, I think $5,000 could go a long way depending on what actually needs to be done. For us, that's kind of getting into what we call like the fractional CMO, right? So the fractional CMO is just that. It's you're hiring a CMO at the fraction of the cost. And so that's what we would look at. We would, you would hire that person and then they would be able to come in and actually take a look at the entire customer journey, help you build it out, get the right metrics in place so that you could essentially, dial in what's working and what's not working and actually have data to back that up. So you can make good decisions and the right decisions and focus on the right things at the right time. Because most of the time, with businesses, everybody's talking about, oh, we need more traffic, we need more traffic, we need more awareness, we need to get 1 million impressions and like this and that. And most cases, that's actually quite opposite. Most of the time, it's they need a better offer, or they need a better ascension model, or they need to put in place, different things that would help drive the business forward farther and more, sustainable. So, but yeah, it all just depends on each situation for sure. But awesome question. Yes. So the customer avatar, analytics is obviously kind of a must. Um, and that is a great way to go. So if you have like a customer history, right, which business, if you have $500,000 of annual revenue, you should have a lot of customer history. You can that's a great, if you're really not sure of who your ideal customer is, downloading from your CRM or from the back end of your site, all the customers, and segmenting them based on how much they've spent, and then you can take like the top 5%, right, of who has spent the most amount of money and over and over again, and you can then start dialing in like who are these people, what do they look like, and then do some research surrounding these people, and since they're your customers as well, it could be an awesome idea to maybe bring a handful of them in as like a focus group and literally just ask them questions on the customer avatar sheet that we use. Like what are your wants and desires? Like why did you buy from us? What was the big thing? Why do you continue to buy from us? What is it about? What is it that made you buy before the very first time, and how did we deliver that transformation type of questions. So that would be like a great way to establish a true customer avatar based on data and based on real-time feedback from the customers. It's awesome. And a lot of people don't do that. I started working with, there's a few clients when I started working with them, they didn't realize that, we could download, like for Facebook ads and stuff like that. They didn't realize we could download a customer list and upload that and create a lookalike audience of everybody who looks like those customers. So it's a good way to go. How do I best engage in existing buyers and bring back those who were once looking to buy? Romance. At the end of the day, if people have bought from us and they kind of stopped doing that, providing content that essentially, reminds them of, the good days of why they fell in love with the business to begin with. And then, continuing to be in front of them always and re-engaging with them with, different topics and different things, asking for feedback. All of those things are going to kind of keep people engaged with the business. And so the minute you stop communicating with your customers is the minute they really become disengaged and feel like you really don't care about them. And so that's kind of where they fall away. But, just like with any relationship, if things are kind of getting, disengaged, so to speak, romancing and reminding, of what those good old days look like is a good step. Yeah, it's let's see. What's the time frame to build out a perfect customer? And after that, will you still help with my ads and emails? Oh, yes. So right now, we have a program called the 90-Day Accelerator, in which we go through, we build out a customer avatar, we build out your customer journey, we put together what we call the growth scorecard that basically we input metrics and we track things based on each stage of the customer journey. And then at that point, that's when we start talking about tools and tactics and, like the Facebook ads, emails, and all that kind of stuff. Once all that stuff is put together, we have a good offer, and, then we can start talking about the cool stuff, right? How are we going to drive traffic and essentially how are we going to keep in front of these people and continue to sell and resell and all that kind of stuff. And so it's usually, it can go a lot faster depending, but, the 90-Day Accelerator is that. It's 90 days. Obviously in the beginning of Blaze, we would take that and, within a couple of days, we would have ads up and running. And the problem with that is it doesn't give us enough time to really do some true research behind it and then work with the business owners to ensure that everybody's on the same page and everybody understands the direction so we can move the cart forward. And so I would say within a month, that first month is generally going to be focused solely around building some of those core documents, and then the fastest, the next month, then we can start talking about getting ads up and rolling and stuff. How can I use great customer reviews and marketing for my business? Well, you can actually run ads. It's a great way to do it. I've done it lots of times. We've actually sent testimonials and emails as well. Especially when you're introducing new things, utilizing those customer testimonials is a great way. Obviously, putting them on your website and all that kind of stuff as well, so people can see that third-party verification. But yeah, some of the coolest retargeting campaigns that I've put together as far as digital ads go is actually utilizing a video testimonial from a customer. It's an awesome question. Yeah, so so if you're interested, this is a great question. So if you're like, hey, what's that 90-day accelerator? And what does that look like for my business? Well, there's a way to get your feet wet, so to speak. And we actually do this through what we call a double your sales discovery session, where we actually start to build out your customer journey. And we kind of line out what that process looks like. And it's 60 to 90 minutes. And we literally go over everything of what that whole process looks like. And then we start to build out your customer journey. And then from there, you decide whether if it's the right move for you or not. It's definitely an awesome process. Even if you just do the discovery session, you're going to get a lot out of it because it's built to be in kind of like a workshop format, to where we're really working hand to hand and kind of putting pen to paper and really kind of getting it. So the discovery session is free, right? I think down the road, as things kind of evolve, we'll probably end up charging for that just to further qualify, the people that we're bringing into the business. But right now it's free. So the 60 to 90 minutes is completely free. And then depending on your business and depending on, what we'll be doing will kind of depend on, really the cost at the end of the day. And so, yeah, but that 90 minutes that you can schedule with us is completely free right now. This is a great question. And you can go to Blaze, go to our website, and when you click on free strategy session, and you'll go through somewhat of an application, and then once you get through that application, that's when you'll see the calendar to book that appointment. So, but we ask questions up front so that we can get a better idea before we even talk to you on what your needs are, what your problems are, and how we can best serve you. So that discovery session really focused around the strategy. What is the most important part of my website, and how do I write killer email to get people to click on my website? So the most important part, is really the above the fold, right? You need to be super clear on what you do, what you offer, and the call to action. So for us, if you go to our website right now, it's all about digital ads. And, we run profitable ad campaigns for small businesses utilizing platforms like Google, YouTube, and Facebook. And then with a call to action to book a call, free strategy session, right? Or you can download, our ultimate Facebook checklist. So that's really the most important, because as people go to your website, most of them are going to be mobile, and generally people don't ever scroll to the bottom of those unless you have links that when they click the link, it takes them to the bottom. And so really above the fold is really the most important part of the website. And if you're going to a landing page, it's the same thing, really. How do I write killer emails that get people to click? You study the greats. And so if you're really looking at writing emails that convert, you've got to do your homework. And you've got to learn the process of direct response marketing. And so reading, books from like Frank Kern and Dan Kennedy and all these other people that have come before us, it really can explain that process, and then it's just trial and error of getting your voice down. What does above the fold mean? Awesome question. Yes. So above the fold. So if you look at your website, when it first loads, when we think of above the fold, right? In old terms, newspapers, right? It was what literally above the crease, the fold in the paper. And so when you load your website, it's what you see initially on the screen before you scroll. So on mobile, obviously that space is a lot smaller. On desktop, it's a little bit bigger, but it is literally just whatever loads without scrolling. Awesome, awesome. We'll just go just for a few more minutes. Definitely appreciate everybody's participation here. We're super excited. We're actually about to launch our new website. Yeah, just got off the phone not too long ago with the with our design team, and we're really close to actually launching, and so that's exciting. So if you go to the website now, in versus maybe tomorrow or like on Monday, it may look a little bit different. So it's kind of coincide with a lot of these new offerings and a lot of things that we're kind of putting together and pushing forward. Oh, so a question here. I want to join your Black Friday workshop, but I don't have my perfect customer avatar built. Should I wait to the 90-day accelerator first? Maybe. maybe. You've got to know who you're targeting. I mean, that is the most important thing. But if you get with us, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming close. And so you've got to get on that like immediately. And so, get with us, schedule an appointment, with our business development team. And, we'll kind of go through that and help you develop that to be able to execute on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So for an e-commerce business, what do you think is the best platform for me to get started on? Any like the best one is the one you use the most, I would say. So if you're more familiar with Facebook, I'd say do that. If you're really intrigued with YouTube, do that. I don't think platform really matters too much unless you're super segmented into specific areas. Then that could be an issue, but you really want to just go where people are hanging out, and that's generally going to be Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Nowadays, you can run ads on TikTok. Even though it's a little finicky and it's new. So there's going to be different nuances that you're going to want to work through. Yeah, and then there's how do I keep inventing new and existing products for existing customers? Exiting, exciting. I'm thinking, how do I keep inventing new and exciting products? That probably is it. For existing customers, how important is upselling? So the upselling is important, but you want to make sure that the products you're upselling kind of relate and things like that. So for companies, like Scree, for example, we do a lot for Scree, and they are constantly coming out with new things, right? So they're a camo company, they're apparel. You may think like, oh, there's only so many, it's a finite amount of things that they can do. Well, not so much, right? So they got gloves, they got gaiters, they got all this stuff that they've come up with over time. And then they go back and they actually look at the old pieces that they've created in the beginning, and they actually change and modify and improve those. Those are new offerings. And so improvement on old products is a great way to keep people coming back over and over again. Consumption, right? So for food companies, for example, so if you do like freeze-dried food, like our friends over at Basecamp, coming up with new flavors is a great way. But getting those consumable products, people are going to consume those. And so offering those in different ways, different packages, adding on little nuances here and there. So it's like, hey, if you buy this, we'll actually throw in this really cool scoop or this really cool like single serving protein. It's just coming up with cool things like that. And really the answer to that is like, how do we best serve our customer? What is the best way we can serve our customer? And is our current offerings doing that? Or is there a way we can improve that? Or what can we add on to that to improve the current offerings to make it better so that, we can continue to serve at the maximum capacity we can? It's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a continuous one as well. Some products don't, take years and years to fully develop and to come out that way. And so and testing and all that other stuff comes involved. But upselling is important if you have the ability to upsell. Generally, if you have one product, the ability to upsell, you just package. And so, for example, like scissors, right? If I only had this and like, okay, I'm going to sell a pack of scissors. Well, I can sell these in bundles, right? So if somebody buys one pack, well, I can offer them like, hey, would you like 3? Would you like 5? Maybe they're a teacher and they need 20. There's lots of different ways that you can kind of integrate that. And then utilizing it and being like, hey, for this month only, we'll add in, a pack of crayons with it. I don't know, just different things or paper or whatever. So it's just stuff that's related, be cross-sell, and just to kind of help improve the use of that. I've heard of Shopify and BigCommerce. Can I make a store on Facebook without one of those? Yes. So there's tons of different platforms out there. You got WooCommerce. You can create a custom site. That's actually on the development team for a company called PhoneScope, and helped create and help manage the back end of their shopping cart for a long time. And so, yeah, those custom solutions, you got WooCommerce, you got Wix, Squarespace. I mean, it's really a plethora of different platforms that you could use. You can create a store, a commerce account on Facebook, but generally it is recommended to have an external website to really connect the feed and kind of connect that way. Even though people still can check out directly on Facebook. And from my knowledge, you can do that. You may need to check on this, but yes, Facebook, there is a way for you to do that, like without a website. Yes, and maybe I should have my head of digital ads come on and maybe answer that question. But that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to kind of cut it right here. I think we covered a lot of topics. We got a lot of really good stuff. If, we're planning on kind of doing these, every week as much as we can. And so we'll bring other people on other than me so that you don't have to look at my ugly face. But it should be fun. And, I'm looking forward to getting more and more people on the live stuff. And so you should, if you're not on our email list, get on our email list and you'll be notified. You're welcome, Melissa. You'll be notified of when we go live. It's generally going to be every Friday. And so have questions ready. If you have questions, submit them. Even if you just comment on, other posts and things like that, because we're constantly, posting stuff on social media and different things, or send us a direct message. Either way, and we'll get your questions answered. And appreciate your time on this fine Friday evening, and hope everybody has a good and safe weekend. See you guys.